One question that a lot of people ask is whether or not you should get genetic testing, you and your partner, prior to trying to have a baby or prior to going through the IVF process. It's actually a really good question because, I think when a lot of people think about genetic testing for themselves, they think about looking at what they might get in the future or what they're predisposed to or what foods they might be sensitive to. But actually, in case you didn't know, you can take a test called a carrier screen to look and see what type of disease you and your partner could be carriers of, and then in turn, look and see that if you were to conceive and have a baby, what the chances of that baby having that disease would be. It's interesting because there are a lot of diseases like cystic fibrosis, spinal muscular atrophy, Duchenne muscular dystrophy that are X-linked diseases, meaning they're carried on the X chromosome. And the woman may actually carry those diseases but not have them because they're recessive diseases that are being carried on that gene, or on that chromosome. So what's interesting is that if you can get a test done that helps you see if you're a carrier of that disease, and then you could have the test done on your partner as well to see if they're potentially carriers of that disease or other diseases, you'll then know whether or not there's a chance that your baby could have that disease. If there is a chance, one of the most useful things to do is to do a type of embryo screening called PGT-M. PGT-M is similar to what is done with PGT-A, which I talk about a lot on here. But instead of looking at copy number differences, whether or not you have the wrong copy number of different chromosomes, like one copy of one chromosome or 3 copies of that chromosome, it actually helps you to determine whether or not your embryo is a carrier of that disease or if it actually would have that disease. So when you look at the carrier screening, a lot of couples who discover that they are carriers of the disease and that their baby would have a high chance of having that disease, even though they may not be struggling with infertility, actually choose to go the IVF route, to go through the care of an IVF doctor in order to fertilize multiple embryos and choose an embryo that does not have that disease using PGT-M testing. Now, that's just one use for PGT-M testing, but I thought it would be interesting to share that because I think that when a lot of people think about IVF and fertility journey, they think you only use that process or you only go through that process or you only see an IVF doctor if, in fact, you're struggling with infertility. But that's not the case. You actually can use it to reduce the spread of diseases of genetic diseases that you may be a carrier of. And that helps to ensure that you're not passing down those diseases to your children or to future generations. And again, those are diseases there's many diseases that could be in reference to. But I thought it would be useful for you to hear IVF is not just for people struggling with infertility.